Cool.
Yeah, mate. All right, we're rolling.
Okay, awesome.
All right, so I've actually I've been watching your stuff for a good number of years, to be honest with you, mate. And I was always really interested. Yeah, I was always really interested. I think I met you at Raynhill.
Yeah, more than probably.
I think so. Like, fucking, I don't know how many years ago. Like, that kind of rings a bell, but I can't really put my finger on it. Anyway, I'm really interested with the whole teaching side. Like you said, literally just 2 minutes ago, with you were a PE teacher and now a science teacher, which is going to pose its difficulties. Like, what do you see in terms of the youth and fitness and health and all that? Like the UK is a funny one. It's a funny case study.
Yeah,
it's quite diverse in a very, very small piece of land. Like I had the opportunity of being a PE teacher in Manchester, back home in my hometown, and I loved it, but you know, it comes with its challenges. So I'm really interested to like kind of hear your side of all that.
Yeah. Okay. So originally, where are we talking? We're talking 2005. Is when I like got into my teaching career. And prior to that, I was in the fitness industry, but teaching PE full time. Really enjoyed it. I've always had fitness, always had sport. Played the other rugby. So I was playing rugby union.
You played rugby?
I was playing union. Yeah, mate.
I did play union though.
Yeah.
I was kind of a traitor. You know, I'm a family traitor. I'm the only one who played union rather than playing league.
I did dabble in league. It is a complete different game.
Oh, I fucking love it, mate.
It was good fun. Yeah. So so I've always had that kind of like coaching experience, and I just wanted to try something. I wanted to be stretched, so that's why I went into teaching originally, and it was an eye opener. You know, you questioned about, let's say the fitness of the youth, and over the years I've been shocked by like there's complete ends of the spectrum. So you got I'm shocked by the lack of fitness of some, but then I'm amazingly appreciative of the impact that I've had and colleagues have had on students and to what they've become. You know, we've had representatives regionally, nationally, internationally. It's so that you can have that impact, and that's a big thing. You know, it's finding something that they've got an interest in and maximizing that, I think, really. I think that PE as a whole on the national curriculum needs an overhaul. There is discussions on how that is happening, and the last few years I've always, like, since I started then coaching fitness and started coaching CrossFit, I always dabbled and added a little bit of that CrossFit flair into some of their units. And then I started, because I started then coaching CrossFit. There was that link there between being in school and coaching CrossFit and affiliate and that side of things. So there was always then that thought of, oh, okay, maybe there's something here. And I've looked at different programs, as in CrossFit Kids, and seeing how we can get that into school. Last year, I was very fortunate to get involved with a company called Kids Impact, and we started a Kids Impact course at the school that I teach. So once a week was totally devoted to the Kids Impact. So it's almost like a fitness class that we led, so functional fitness class. So I was bringing the CrossFit style, and it was that functional fitness side of things as well. And the kids that we had, they were really enjoying that. And again, there was a good group of kids in there. Some of them were athletes, and some of them were not athletes at all, but they got on, they enjoyed it. So there's definitely something there.
What do you think? What do you think, like, the biggest challenges to start creating that sort of reform?
To be honest, I think there's a definite sort of there's a fixed mindset with some of the students or some of the youth. They'd rather, I don't know, some of them like don't engage very well. They don't have a belief in their own abilities. And then as a PE teacher, you need to see that spark, and it's very encouraging if you see that spark, and then obviously encouraging that. And I think that's where the whole functional fitness thing, whether it's CrossFit or any sort of like fitness training methodology, if we can use that, I think there's more to it. You can really get some improvements out of the kids. I've done different programs. We've done orienteering before, and the kids that don't shine because they're not footballers, they're not rugby players, they're not basketballers or netball players, but they've got something else, and they've shone in orienteering, or I've seen them move well enough to be able to be gymnasts. And then you think, okay, well, you've got that own awareness. Can we apply that to functional fitness? And it's that challenge. It's the challenge that they think, oh, I can't do this. And then I've seen kids. We did a box jump off, and I've seen kids just try and just do a max jump. And I was like, you're nearly there. I'll be there like 5-10 minutes, still trying to jump on the same box. That was quite fun. Fun.
It's the mixed modality as well, right? Because there's so many moving parts within like a functional fitness regime. Like, it doesn't have to be under the CrossFit brand. It can be anything. It's the same methodology. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much you could be good and bad at that they have to change. Station. We'll call it like circuit training. They have to change station so often. Like they kind of get that little dose of, oh, I could be good at this, or I am good at this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've been very fortunate to have at my school we got I think we got like 5 row machines, Concept 2 rowers.
Wow.
And like 3 or 4 times we've taken groups of kids to competitions, and you can see that flair. We've got one certain female. She's actually in my tutor group. She absolutely smashes like 1,000 meters and blows all the girls out of the water. It's amazing to see. And she's not a rower. She's like an athlete, and she's got that grit. Where you can see it in athletes that we coach at a box. There's just that's something. And she's now does athletics as well. So,
like,
she's very good at that.
Kids are a fascinating one as well, man, isn't it? Because, like, for an adult, they're kind of set in their ways, right? They're a little bit like stone. You can chisel away at them, and eventually you're going to get, you're going to break through. But it's going to take a while. And kids are more like a bit of Play-Doh.
Oh, for sure.
The thing is, like, they're going to go home, right? And they could potentially not be in the greatest of environments back home. And either their mum or dad isn't very encouraging, or they could be an orphan, or they might be missing a parent, or whatever the circumstance they're in. And I think, especially teaching in Manchester, like, about 50% of the kids I had like an encounter with, they were orphans. They were like living with their auntie, or it's not actually their auntie, it's like a family friend or whatever. And like automatically they have that chip on their shoulder, right? And they just think, nah, like I'm in a box. I have a ceiling of my potential. I can't do this because of this. And like, what would your experience sort of dictate? How would you tackle that? Because that's a difficult one.
Yeah, it is. And, that I can automatically remember certain scenarios where you've got a certain student that's got a chip on their shoulder, and I've taught them in one environment, and they were really quite difficult. And then I happened to be coaching them some rugby. Next thing you know, we're chatting away about rugby, and it turns out this lad would play rugby at the weekends, and that's where we found a mutual respect. And we talked about rugby, and it was a case of, okay, encouraging certain things, certain elements then for him to kind of engage with. So like running and his physicality, to encourage that side of things, rather than his effing and jeffing and his stroppiness that you would have in a normal classroom setting. So there's those sort of things, and it's the point where I'm at in my teaching career is now I want to make a difference daily. I'm just gonna have to switch over to my charger because my phone's about to die, mate. Sorry.
That's all right, mate. You smack it in. That's all good.
There we go.
Perfect.
We're back on. It's, I got that little bell thing that said, "Oh, your phone's going to die."
Yeah.
Sorry. Where was we?
With the whole like he was effing and jeffing, and you kind of had to relate to. Ruggers.
So we got talking to the kids, and it's like giving them that opportunity then. That was it. I was saying about where I'm at in my career is like making a difference daily.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm now primarily in a classroom in a science lab, but also at the same time, it's whether it was on the rugby pitch or in the gym, it's given them opportunity to experience something different than they would normally experience. So it's that whole idea you said earlier about this. They have that ceiling, so that would be your fixed mindset. They would think, "Oh, I'm only capable of doing this," but it's actually encourage them to show them, "Oh, actually, you're capable of so much more." And as a PE teacher or as a teacher of really good teachers, you'd be able to show your students that, even if it's just a glimmer, and they can say, actually, I can go a little bit further than I've ever gone before, and I think as a coach, as a CrossFit coach and coaching in boxes, that's what I think a lot of us see when we're coaching anybody. That's the thing. It's like they go, "Oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that. I can't do a pull-up. I can't do my skips." And then the next thing is just give them that little bit of encouragement, and all of a sudden they've got a pull-up or a double under. So
beautiful, isn't it, man?
Them that. Yeah.
And the similarity, like it's crazy because I always think about like, you run a class full of adults, right? And when I'm coaching adults, genuinely, I do the same shit as I would do when I coach kids. I just throw a couple more F-bombs in there. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like, they basically are the same. You're just herding cattle. You're trying to ignite a little bit of confidence. You try and get them doing something they've never done before. And then like give them a high five and say, "I'll see you tomorrow," sort of thing.
Yeah. And it is definitely that thing, that aha moment, whether it's coaching kids, teaching kids at school, or coaching adults in a CrossFit class. That's definitely the thing that I enjoy the most. That's why I enjoy doing both of those things. And both of those things have given me plenty of opportunities and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's chasing that next thing. It's that I do enjoy it, and it's watching these people then grow and think, oh, I've made a difference there. I've given them something that they can take and run away with, and then they want to develop and they want to improve on more.
It's not about making world-class athletes. It's seeing the development through their life, and then they go apply it to everything else. Like, I just think back to my old rugby coaches and that, who were questionable with their dictatorial manners and military, sort of training techniques. But at the end of the day, like, the discipline and everything that you develop through that side, through the physicality, you then apply to your, everyday life and whatever. And then the next thing, like a kid you coached 20 years ago has like done something, you're like, holy shit. Like in fact, I bumped into my old rugby coach in Auckland, which was really weird because I was waiting tables and I was serving some breakfast, and I was literally just like, yeah, mate, it was fucking mental. Like, I was like, plate in each hand or a tray in each hand. I was like kind of rushing around the place like an headless chicken, right? And then I literally, next thing you know, I'll kind of like clock a table, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, all right, sir. And he just turns around and goes, what the fuck are you doing here?
Still being called sir, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I just turned 40 September just gone. So I've been teaching over 15 years now. And I've still got, there's only one or two lads that I'll see around and about, and they'll still call me sir. I was just after lockdown in the summer, was celebrating another friend's birthday, having a beer, up the jars, and they're like, "All right, sir," and you're at the bar. That's yeah.
Like occasionally you'll call them a nickname if you were a PE teacher, for example. Occasionally you'll get one nickname in about 5 years, and that's it. Everyone's still calling you sir, trying to get you pissed. Like, it's funny.
That's it.
But then, like, it's like you've given like one little thing to that kid who's obviously now no longer a kid, and he's fucking remembered it, or she's remembered it, and now that's just going to go forward. And like, I actually turned to his wife, and I was like, shit, he taught me back in the day. I still apply every day. You know what I mean? And she was just like, yep. That's why I did it. Made a difference.
Yeah.
Exactly. So where would you want to see in terms of we'll narrow it down to fitness, right? With health, because that's like pretty apparent now. Like, where would you want to see things going in the future?
Okay. So I've got this vision.
Go for it.
So my vision has been, I was putting this together in my own mind and writing it down. I would love to have like functional fitness in a guise that runs throughout the whole year in a PE curriculum. So there are a few schools about that do that. I know that there's a couple of schools in the States that do it, and one or two in the UK that are on that trial. But it would be a case of implementing some sort of functional fitness once a week, through the PE curriculum. That's what we envisage, and I don't mean, and this is what we said earlier, it's like, it doesn't have to be CrossFit. It's functional fitness. It's getting the kids to move, basically. It is hard sometimes to encourage students to move, especially those that have become, let's say, apathetic to it, but you might be able to get them to do something.
Yeah.
And I don't personally think that your traditional sports are the way to go. The way that I've done it is basically through fundamentals. So throwing, catching, skipping, little bit of running, just to get them moving and make every a game. And I don't mean okay, well, let's play a game of football. I mean like there's so many different games that you can play. My little lad, he's 6 years old, and no, I'll tell a lie, he's 8 years old. How bad is that? Thinking about when he was 6, that was it. So he's doing he's rugby now.
Yeah.
But before that, he was like the mini rugby sort of thing, and I think over here they call it like little kickers, and there's some other brands out there as well, and that's all fundamentals. So they're just running around playing tig, but you've got to tig with a rugby ball, or it's playing a game of tennis with cones, which is it sounds really quite hard, but instead of a tennis racket, you're playing catch and you're throwing with the cones. It's an awesome game. I love it. It's just encouraging the kids to see that, getting them moving around.
100%, mate. Like, games is the way to go. Like, even in a CrossFit gym, like, if you like, I've even played these games with adults, as in for the exact same reason. Like, they're disengaged, they're fucking lethargic, or whatever. I'm like, all right, we're gonna play a team game of netball or the floor is lava or whatever. Like, one of the favorites was basically you had, what did I call it? I can't remember. Like, you have a box, you put it on the 20-inch side, and you basically play spike ball, but you play it on a box with a tennis ball, and you basically just smack it round. And if you lose the point, you do one down up, and then you just pick it up and carry on. And people get so into it, mate.
Classic, like with the the pizza delivery where you have that
pizza game, yeah.
Adults love it, and that's the thing. It's funny, it's encouraging. It's fitness. At the end of the day, I know we're loosely speaking, but it's an encouragement thing. And the next thing it's like, okay, well, if I can get kids to do this in a school setting, next one's like playing, like, okay, let's hang off with stuff. It's just encouraging different types of movement or different aspects of fitness, different components of fitness through a different setting. Because I think with like traditional sports, you're gonna have your footballers, you're gonna have your rugby players, your netball players, your hockey players, those sort of things. But I've always seen it's the kids on the peripherals that play other sports.
Yeah.
That they don't get recognized, or it's the quiet kids that, because they're quiet and slightly disengaged, because they don't particularly like the traditional sports, they might be good at something else. So I said earlier about at our school, we're lucky to have rowing machines. You can think of, like, you've got a particularly big lad or a particularly taller girl, stick them on a rowing machine, they're pulling some good numbers on the rowing machine. Like, okay, there might be something here, go and put you in a, and if you want to enjoy that, and just finding something different for them to try.
And I find it bleeds into it too. Like, if you get them into like functional fitness, you kind of ignite the spark, right? And as soon as you got the spark, they're like, oh, maybe I will try, conventional sports, rugby, football, netball, hockey and stuff. Or maybe I'll try something else like water polo, rowing. Like, they kind of, it gets them started.
Yes. You said that with the spark, it's that you can see the little bit of encouragement. And I said earlier about this fixed mindset. We're actually saying, okay, there's something else here. So there's your growth mindset and the development into that. I think that's another big thing that I'm trying to like trickle feed at the moment with my tutor group and my students that I teach regular basis is that whole idea that it's okay not to get it right, but you just got to go and explore. There's so much for people to explore, you know.
I think my concern would be like you see some schools being like the revolutionaries, right, and implementing these functional fitness, and like you said, you got 5 concept 2 rows, which is incredible. But then like my concern would be it's always the bloody middle class schools or the private schools or the grammar schools that end up doing it. Like back in the day, rugby union is only on grammar schools. Like working class people don't get that opportunity.
A comprehensive, as it would be in old speak. So 11 to 16. It's a let's say it's a suburban town. We've got a percentage of students that are on like the free school meals. So it's not an affluent area. So we've just been very fortunate to have very good members of staff past that have managed to find opportunities, let's call them, and little pots of money that we can get involved with, and bursaries and grants, and we've brought that in. So you do need like coaches or sports coaches, or teachers that have got passion there. And they can bring that. And you know, there are plenty of awesome teachers out there, plenty, and they do make a huge difference. So, but you are right. From my own experience, it is these more affluent schools that do amazing. They do have higher level athletes, or a lot more percentage of students like that. I think that's they're drawn to that school, if it were.
Like I remember doing my youth S&C course, right, and it was some grammar, some private school in the south. I can't really remember. It was in Surrey, you know what I mean. So it was like absolutely like crying with money, and they have their own bloody S&C coach on hand who's not a teacher, like an actual head S&C coach. They've got their own gym. They've got multiple gymnasiums. They've got their own pool, like cricket fields. You know what I mean? Like the full shebang. And I'm just like, wow, like these kids could potentially, you know, that they're getting to year 11, so 15, 16 years of age. They know what a power clean is. They know what a Bulgarian split squat is. They've been coached from the age of 12. Like they can power clean 110 kilos, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, you know?
Yeah, there are those schools out there.
Yeah, and then I go, and then I'm a PE teacher in Manchester, and kids are coming to school with knives. And I'm like, I don't think this is fair here. Like, there's a bit of a drop off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But one of my proudest achievements was I had about 20 lads at my school, and I was literally showing them a Bergner warm up.
Yeah.
So literally no ever, and they were nailing it. 20 lads nailing the Bergner warm up, and we were just mimicking the movements. And then I managed to acquire some like PVC pipes or Dowling rods. So then it was like I remember watching the video because I filmed it for a colleague, and then showed it to the head, and we're all doing snatch drops. And so there's a group of 20 lads, and they really loved it. They loved it. It was we did that for a few weeks. Olympic lifting in schools. That was awesome. That was.
That's major, because that will ignite the spark of breaking the stereotype of, you know, like kids can't lift weights, it's going to damage growth plates and all that sort of nonsense. Like that right there, even just by doing a PVC pipe, is where it starts, man. That's incredible.
And bringing it back to that link with the gym that I coach at, Imperial Bodies, we've got a youth weightlifting program. So prior to all this, the lockdown and the COVID, that was becoming quite popular. They got a kids program running there. And a few of the students that I teach they were going across to that, and they also played rugby and they swam, and there's that whole link there. It's quite involved with the local community there as well.
Like there's only ever going to be positives from that, because you're going to create like freak athletes, right? So you look at purely the athletic performance and you're like, wow, we're producing like potential like world goals, Olympic goals or whatever. But then you also look at, they know how to move, so they develop that proprioception, right? And then they reduce the risk of injury and all that sort of stuff. But we take away the physical side and we just focus on the mental side. Like these people and these young people are going to feel so much better within themselves because they've developed confidence, like they've worked through some stress. You know what I mean?
It's that side of thing, those side of things that we definitely see the most in these students. You know, it's the encouraging side of things, and we're coming back. There's a similar theme here again. It's that whole idea of actually there is something else out there that I could be good at. And I'm encouraged to find out what that's gonna be like, and you know, it is a very nice thing to be part of when, as we've said, you know, you'll see that glimmer in a student in a classroom setting, or in a PE class, let's say, and then a few years down the line, they're representing at a national or even international level. You know, I've been very fortunate to probably I had about 5 or 6 students in my that I've seen evolve, and I remember teaching them in year 7 or year 8, so they're probably 11 or 12, and then when they're fully grown adults and they're playing for Premiership teams or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, for that lad once, you know.
Yeah, you have the ability to develop the next generation rather than breaking them. And I think like the old school mindset is like punish, or not punish these kids, but break these kids and the strongest will survive. You know what I mean? And the majority will just be absolutely broken adults.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Clearly that's not the way to go, because out of a population of say 100 for math's sake, you're going to get 3 people that will be fine, and 97 of them will just end up breaking down.
Like again, I used to quite enjoy teaching PE in the summer, because we do athletics, and the whole crossover there was awesome. And you give a group of lads, light medicine balls, and they were chucking them across the AstroTurf, and then all of a sudden you start to see these lads that you wouldn't have normally seen, and they've got something in them, some power behind them. They've got an ability to move that they might not have recognized before. So yeah.
It's funny you say you enjoyed coaching athletics, because I fucking hated it. Like I hated doing athletics, because it was basically we had like the main like athletics track that went round the ones footy the rugby pitch, and there was like a tiny little gradient of a hill going up to like a mini football pitch, right? So everyone used to sit on there until it was your heat. The next thing you know, everyone's watching you, and me being not the greatest of runners, well, I'm probably the worst runner you'll ever see in your life. I run sideways, not forward and back, you know what I mean? And it's just like 800 meters takes me about 20 minutes. So I'm there just dying, and everyone's just there just watching you, and I'm like, oh no, please, no, stop this.
Yeah. And it's we changed our just trying to think of the right words. We changed some of our events again from non-traditional 100, 200 meters, 400, 800 meters, where you'd literally just, you'd see the kids go, oh, but we did short you know, we did lots of fundamentals, and we did some team games as well. So like relays and things like that, and you start to see some encouraging movements again. So it's fine. It might not necessarily be the best at 200, 400 plus, but they've got some speed on them. Like me, top 10 meters is what that's about my top speed. You know, cover 10 meters is possible. But yeah, that was always a good one.
It'd be cool to see like kind of like you switch between track and field. So you do a run, and then you have to do shot put, and then you've got a shorter distance, or like some hurdles, or maybe a little bit of an agility run, and then you've got to throw a javelin, or then you've got to do a jump, like a standing broad jump, for example. So then it's like, all right, don't worry, young Jimmy, or using for me example, don't worry, Alex, like you've got to run 400 meters, mate. But when you pick up this javelin, you're going to be able to throw it into next year. And I'll be like, all right, okay, cool. I'll be able to get around the 400 meters, and then I'll just absolutely whiz the javelin.
Yeah. And I used to get the kids to do like intervals. So it's like encourage. Again, it's a bit like, do you know how you would do? You differentiate. Sorry. So in a CrossFit class, you got you guys that can do your kick and pull ups. You guys that can do butterfly. And there's those people that are trying, and you know you can differentiate, get everybody to encourage to do different things. Well, that was the same for me in a PE class setting with let's say, okay, right guys, we're going to do 800 meters today. Like there are some kids that are just going to nail it straight from the off, you know, 800 meters as fast as they can. Whereas other kids, they're going to run it as an interval, but they're still going to have completed 800 meters at the end of it. You know? So it's showing them that running isn't necessarily going to cause death.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not necessarily going to be super uncomfortable, because I'm going to teach you how to manage that.
I like that.
And then I think, you know, as a CrossFit coach, as a functional fitness coach, that's the sort of thing that we do as well with our that coming into our classes, is show them actually you can do a 2K row as fast as you can, and then pull off the rower at the end of it, or you know, you can pace it and enjoy it, but come off having achieved something, you know.
And even the high fives or the fist bumps at the end, right? That is like, I don't know, it's another way of consolidating the fact of like, hey, it doesn't matter if you won, quote unquote. You got the fastest time, the heaviest weight, the whatever, quickest split. And it doesn't matter if you got the slowest or the lightest or whatever. Everyone's completed the same amount of work. Everyone's going to get a fist bump and a high five at the end. And like, I think that's that'd be another way of bringing it into the kids. I know it's hard because some of them don't want to get involved, and they're like, this is shit. Like, they're going to ruin my street cred sort of thing. And it's just like, look, toughen up, princess. Like you've done the work. So's Jimmy. Jimmy came 15 minutes after you. Like, give him a fist bump. Good job.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing to do, is encouraging that and instilling that. And I think that comes down to the coach, the teacher, or whomever's in charge at the end of the day, because there's plenty of volunteers out there that coach and help out. It actually show that everybody that is there has turned up. They chose to turn up. You know, we've all got a choice. We didn't have to be there at the end of the day. I know school's slightly different, but it's encouraging when we say, okay, well, we're going to do this type of event, and everybody's going to give it a go. It doesn't matter. We did our 200 meter time, you know, in national sort of record speed, or you know, we took our time about it, but we made the amount of work.
That's it, mate. Just encouragement is a big one. Is a really big one, and you do see, especially in the kids, you do see their chin drop a little bit, and they get a little bit inside their own head. They can't do some certain things, and I remember I used to have this kid, like, he used to jump in my youth class, right? But he was only 9, and the youth class, like I like the teenage years. I like from like 12 to usually about 17, because around that age they start graduating into the adult classes, you know. So I have that little age group, and I had this kid because his brother was in the youth class. He used to come in. He was only 9. He played like county cricket, good fella. Like, but sometimes he'd get a little bit self-conscious about the workout. You know what I mean? It's probably like he could do it. Like that kid was an absolute genius and a whiz. Like he was fit as anything. But like you get a bit embarrassed sometimes, and it's like, oh, that's gonna, you know, rag me. And while everyone else is warming up, it's like you play a little bit of catch with him. You play something a little bit in his ballpark, pardon the pun, and that's it. His chin's up again, and then he's on the assault bike doing what he wants. You know what I mean? He's now doing something rather than sat down on his bloody Nintendo DS or whatever and playing a bit of whatever.
Yeah, bobbing away on their socials or yeah. But again, that common theme that we've said today is about like showing the next generation, showing the youth that they are capable of more than what they might think.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm coming back to it because kind of reading around it at the moment for other reasons, like the whole idea behind the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, and encourage
Carol Dweck.
Is
that Carol Dweck?
Yeah, Carol Dweck. Sorry, yeah. So that's my pickup book at the moment. So when you go to reach for your phone, instead of reaching for your phone, you pick up the book instead. There are moments like that, or it's in my bag all the time. So just read a couple of pages. It's the reason why I'm reading it now is to use for my teaching. I'm seeing more students that I wouldn't say struggle, but it's becoming more, let's say, more aware of it. I think, with everything else that's going on.
I know I'm biased in that, but I do think, CrossFit gyms or independent gyms that do the similar stuff, with S&C and all that sort of stuff. I do think we're going to have to have a little bit more accountability in the fact of like we've got to be the catalyst, right? And create these changes and bring everyone in, because within a skill system, like you have this like kind of prejudice from where you're so locked in with your year, right? Year 7s don't really mess around with year 8s. Year 8s certainly don't mess around with year 9s. I mean, back, I remember it's like, look, if you look at someone funny, you're going to get shoved in a locker or put in a bin upside down, you know what I mean? But now it might be a little bit different, who knows? Or it might be north-south divide. But like you bring them into a CrossFit setting, for example, and they're knocking around and equal to athletes that are absolutely incredible, that might have been knocking on the door to sanctionals or regionals back in the day. You know what I mean? Some absolute like flipping around on the bar, picking up whatever weight you put on the bar for them, and they'll just throw it above their head. And now they're seen as an equal. They might not be doing the same workout, but they're in the environment. They kind of have a role model to look up to. They don't have the stigma of like, oh, that's my teacher. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that was what I was going to say in terms of like the role model, being an inspiration. It's like you say you been following on my Instagram profile and things like that. The events where I've done qualifiers for, I've obviously put them on YouTube. Where you do your qualifier, put it on YouTube. My students end up finding out somehow.
Of course they do, yeah.
I'm sure there's something out there that they Google any teacher and then they go, "Oh, we've found you got a YouTube channel. I've subscribed." I was like, "Oh no!" Every year in about September, October, the new kids come in year 7, and then like you're okay for a bit, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, "Oh, you got a YouTube channel?" You're like, "Yeah." Well, can we just watch videos? Like, and then the next thing you do, you got extra subscribers. And I say, look, I'm only doing qualifiers here. Okay, there's nothing great about my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
But
I'm not.
it's the inspiring. I think they see me in a different setting,
100%.
and
And you're leading from the front, right? You're showing rather than saying, and I think that makes a massive difference. Like people say shit all the time, and being that boss or the leader, right? You could stand at the front and just dictate and not do anything, and the level of respect you would receive would, well, I'll tell you right now, would be nothing. Or you could do exactly what you're doing, and show them what to do, or show them another way of doing it, and kind of putting yourself out of there, and they will look at it. Whether they look at it right now with their mates around, or whether they think about it later, they'll be like, I tell you what, like, Sir's kind of got it going, you know what I mean? Like, maybe I'll try something like that.
Yeah. And, I've been very fortunate to have students now that I train with. There's one of the guys that are in my crew that I train with. He's an ex-student.
That's cool.
And we did a few weeks ago, do you know, like Sam Briggs and a couple of the guys for what was it? The Battle Cancer. They did the 50k row, 50k run.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we did it group, and one of the lads, we was chatting away, and he was an ex-student. In fact, two of the lads ex-students, and we were having a laugh. It was great morning actually. It was good fun.
And there you go. Like, that's just throwing yourself in there, putting yourself in the arena and kind of throwing the punches with them. Like, that's the way to do it, mate. And I do think it goes beyond skill now, especially when you bring in like physical health, right? It goes beyond skill system. I think everything kind of needs to be combined in one.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I have no idea. I'm just a dumb working class bloke from Manchester, but a kid can dream, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's the vision. That's the vision. It's like having these students just realize their potential. Giving them that glimmer of, actually, I could achieve so much more than I think I can.
And I don't want to say social media overrides parenting, because that's a massive kick in the teeth. However, it does provide, or you can sort of show that side of leadership and spread like positivity a lot easier, rather than having to stand in front of a classroom and dictate it to the kids, right? You can kind of show it and be like, at the weekend, I went up to the Etihad Stadium and kind of got put in a hole and did some like adult PE for time. You know what I mean? They're like, whoa, what the hell? Like, sir, did that hurt? I was like, yeah, unbelievably.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's. I think we've got a beautiful opportunity. It starts with one person helping one kid, and then everyone, like, the CrossFit scene is beautiful, right? Because everything is intertwined. Everyone knows everyone. I'd say functional fitness scene, because whether you are affiliated under the brand of CrossFit or you're just doing thrusters and burpees, you're still like working hard. It's still the same stuff. So everyone can still like appreciate one another and be like, oh, I've done that workout. That was shit. That really hurt.
Yep. We've all gone through that pain, doing similar workouts. Like, yeah, we've done that. You know what that feels like.
Yeah. Oh, that looks shit. Yeah, maybe I'll give that one a go. Weird people. Probably got a few screws loose. I know I have, for sure.
There's always growth at the end of it. That's sure. You feel, okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I can do that. I could do more than that.
And it's measurable, right? The kids can see it. They're like, oh, I couldn't do that last week. Now I can do it now. How are you enjoying the book? I remember reading that, and it's one of the books that changed my life.
Yeah, it's good. As I say, it's kind of like a pick down and put up at the moment. So I've been involved with mindset for a number of years. Tom Foxley and Mindset RX.
Yeah.
So I've been involved with quite a few years, and it was one of the books that was encouraged to us to have a read. So yeah, and then as I say, there's elements in that I'm looking to cross over into my teaching and as a parent as well. You know, as I say, I've got two young kids, and I want them to believe in themselves more than that they're capable of so much more.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like I said something, I say something yesterday, or I can't really remember. Like you learn more to give more, right? And being able to just sort of pass it on, so they know it at an earlier age, and they don't have to make the same mistakes as we made, and then yeah, cycle continues.
Greatness for sure, daring greatness. Yeah.
Oh, daring greatness is another good one. In fact, I've got it right next to me. Have I got it right next to me? Oh no, I left it in the UK. I've got all the others. Right, I really appreciate your time, brother. Like, if people wanted to find you and watch your qualifiers, where would you send them?
So on the Instagram, I think it's T_Kendallator.
Kendallator.
And that's it. And then on YouTube, it's just Kendall. I'm doing the Masters Throwdown. There's another Throwdown coming up. It's all on online qualifiers at the moment.
Nice.
So chasing some of the big dogs again.
Why not? Mate, the wolf climbing the mountain is always hungrier than the wolf on the top. Mate, you got to start chomping at him, mate. Like, why not? Throw it down. Throw him fists.
Thank you very much for having me on the this evening.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate it.
Sure, for sure. And thank you for the opportunity.
Nah, always, mate. Always. I've been meaning to get you on for a while, and I don't just say that. Like, I really want to. Like, I know for a fact I don't know shit, and I like to speak to people in their field, and that's how you broaden your own mind as well as other people. And I think that's where discussion is what breeds like change. And I think people need to take the prejudice out of things and just discuss and talk about how to get better, whether as individuals or whether as like the synergy between us, and then change can happen.
I'd definitely like to take the opportunities. Like, if there are any teachers out there that are trying to implement some sort of functional fitness, or want to get involved in just having a chat, even if CrossFit coaches out there that are looking to get into schools, I'm definitely up for that sort of discussion as well.
100%. I'd love to see, like, I think the UK scene in the whole, functional fitness and all that sort of, CrossFit realm, I think it is going to end up kicking off in the next 5 to 10 years. And I'd love to see, if we could make a little bit of change, even if it's just on the youth scale, whether it's just on our mindset scale or whatever, like just put a little bit of a couple of droplets in the ocean and let's make a ripple.
Sounds awesome.
Mate, stay in touch. Appreciate your time and take it easy, brother.
You too. Take care, mate.
Thank you, man.
Thanks.